And since I'm on a roll criticizing him, I'll just remind you that when Plato proposed this theory, he could also be the best critic of this theory. Let me give you what is a standard criticism of the theory of the forms. It's found in the dialogue Parmenides. Let's assume that we have in our physical experience of the natural world an experience of two objects that we call duck. Okay. I'm not good at drawing ducks, so I'm just going to put two circles here. They stand for ducks. Now, why do we call both of them ducks? Well, presumably because they resemble each other. They have something in common. And Plato said what they have in common is the form of duckness. So I'll put a dotted circle up here for the form of duckness. Now, we could have other ducks down here, but I'm going to limit it to two for my illustration. How do we organize the many into a one? Well, we say they resemble each other and thus participate in duckness. What's the relationship of the upper story to the lower story? The relationship of ideas to the realm of nature? The particulars in the natural world participate in that which is common to them, duckness. And for a few moments, that might look like an answer that reduces the many to a one. In fact, it doesn't. Because Plato is now will have to explain to us what participation is. What is it to participate? When Plato tried to explain it, about the best he could come up with is actors participate in a role. You know that Shakespeare wrote the story of Hamlet, right? And there have been many actors who have played Hamlet. Each one is supposed to bring his own unique interpretation and application of Hamlet. When an actor plays a role, he participates in it. And so it is that there are many objects out there participating in the role of pigness. Little Hamlets, as we might say. Yeah, you don't have to laugh at my jokes, that's okay. Hamlets. Okay. So this is the best Plato could do to explain what participation is all about. It's like what an actor does with a part. But now, is participation a relationship? Well, yes, it is a relationship between the form and the informed, between the idea and the physical object in the natural world. Why do we say then that this duck participates in this particular form here? Well, there must be some kind of resemblance between them. But if there's a resemblance between the physical duck and the idea of duckness, that must mean the idea and the duck participate in something. Now, I'm going to symbolize this as a dotted circle 2. Okay, the reason why we say that the physical duck participates in the idea of duckness is because there's a resemblance between them. But if there's a resemblance, how did this start out? There's a resemblance between physical ducks, then there must be something that unites the two into one. So if there's a resemblance between what unites the duck and the form of duckness, then these two must participate in a further resemblance, duckness 2. Now, can we just sit down and go on with the lecture, leave it at that? Well, of course not. Now we got another problem. What's the relationship between duckness 1 and duckness 2 that accounts for this participation between the form and the object? Well, there must be something that brings them together. They must participate in a higher form, right? So that means we've got to have duckness 3. But what right do we have to bring together Form 2 and Form 3? They've got to have a participation relationship, a resemblance between each other. But if they resemble each other, then there must be another participation in a Form 4. Well, how long can this go on? To infinity. When Plato tries to explain participation, what he ends up with is an infinite chain of participations. And Plato knew that he had this problem. He mentioned it in the Parmenides. It's just devastating.